Dead Radio Australia, we have the genius in the room. We are ready to rock and sausage roll for the Genius Zone.
Sausage roll?
Yeah,
it's a long way to the top.
If you want a sausage roll. How quintessentially West Australian are we? Look at that. Okay, long way to the top. Great song, okay, AC/DC, local band, back in the day.
I might play it next Wednesday.
You might, okay, when you're doing the
at
request.
12 o'clock.
Why not? Okay, look at this. She's promoting her other show there, of course. Look, Terry does a lunch show on every Wednesday at 12. Very, very cool. Get on board with that one.
Yeah.
Now, okay, enough about talking about sausage rolls and lunch and rock and roll bands.
You're making me hungry.
That's kind of the point. Isn't that the point?
Oh, dear.
Now, you've got the computer. You've got the lappy.
I have.
Right.
I'm trying to look very official here, Aaron.
I'm impressed.
And, we've got some scary questions coming up.
Right.
Just saying, because these questions, it's all to do with recoding our lives because, I'm going to go back to the sequence of that nobody has ever yet come to me in my whole entire time of consulting.
Yep.
And actually said to me, this is exactly what I want. I want to be great. I want to be rich. I want to have a great relationship.
Sure.
I want to have a fast car. Look, unfortunately, I know you might be going, oh, gee, that all sounds good.
I've had a few of those.
But unfortunately, I get the dramas.
Yeah, and also you might want all those things, but you don't get it all at the same time.
Yes,
okay?
But people don't really know what they want.
I agree with that. Really,
People
so
do
true.
not, and they're so drowning in their own limitations and everything that they've been through in their life that they're stuck. So being a clinical hypnotherapist, the thing is, what is stopping and blocking you? Okay. So everything comes from our past experiences, hence why the name of the show, Bannishing the Toxic Relations from Your Past.
That was very heavy. So say that again. I just talked over you. A bit rude. Do it again.
You didn't get a chance to get a word in. Banishing the toxic relations. I probably should have named it Banishing the Toxic Experiences.
Okay.
Because it's really about experiences, because sometimes even with our own parents back in our childhood, and I know my kids would vouch for this, we go through things where we're shaped by our parents.
So true.
Whether they broke up, whether, something happened in our history that really impacted us, usually when that happens, and then we're left carrying that. So it's not actually a toxic relationship as such, but because you've got to separate, and I probably should have known better here, but you've got to separate the crap from the person.
Technical term. Okay.
Very technical, very sophisticated. So you've got to actually kind of separate. There's the person.
Yeah. That's
the soul.
Yep.
And really their soul is perfect.
Okay.
But their ego is not. None of our egos are.
It's not a dirty word, though. I think, look, I think I know where you're going on this. I actually will disagree. I think that some people have got very,
very. You're going to disagree.
Of course I will. But I think some people have got very dark souls. They really do, okay? And I don't think it's got to do with their ego. I think their souls are.
So you think their soul is dark?
Yeah.
I suppose they do have a saying called Dark Night of the Soul.
Okay, there you go. I didn't even know that saying.
And actually my client, and I'm not breaking any confidentialities because I know she's going to watch this, because a lot of this is based around our session we had together last night. Okay. But she described herself, her situation, as being a broken soul.
Right. Okay, I completely understand and identify with that for sure.
So it's really tough. And I'm going, well, if you're a broken soul, then what's it going to take to kind of put it back together and unite it? Because I don't know a lot about the difference between a soul and a spirit, but spirit is kind of infinite.
Okay.
So it's expansive. It's like air. You can't break air, right?
See, I thought they were pretty much the same thing with just different names.
Yeah, I kind of did too, but I've heard differently. Okay. I've heard that the soul is more of a representation of the body.
Mm-hmm.
So the spirit, and the spirit is more of a representation of, the energy, and your energy more connected to the superconscious.
Right.
But please don't quote me on that because I'm not an expert
on that field.
There will be a test at the end, right? So I'm just going to put it out there. So I mean, the main thing is that's what she said.
Sure.
And whatever we say is unfortunately can be true, because if we say something, you know, what we say is what we are.
I agree with that.
So, you know, this is what I want to kind of go through, and we're doing a workshop, as you know, on Saturday. And we have these workshops all the time.
We do. This Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Did you remember?
No.
Oh, you're the one
I'm
setting
just
it
kidding.
up.
It's in the phone. If it's in the phone, it'll happen. Trust me. I'll be here.
Okay, so if you've booked your ticket, it's all good. So what I thought is we can either go through some of the patterns, so I can talk about, say, for example, what happened with this particular person in the situation that she's, you know, she's such a great, when I say great person, we're all great. We've all got greatness in us. But she's just, you know, discussing with me at how broken she is and how depressed she is. And she's got this situation with her partner where she is so insecure. So she's kind of holding on for dear life. And I'm like, do you have any reason to be, you know, doing that? Like, did it ever occur to you that you may be predicting? Because if you think something about someone, see, she's thinking that her current partner, who probably loves it a bit,
you think so,
is going to run off on her.
Okay.
And so it is her, you know, complete, when I looked at the scope to find out exactly what she wanted, she wants to have a really, you know, long and strong relationship that she can grow old with someone.
That's what a lot of us want. And I think that the insecure, what don't you don't think people want long relationships?
I think, I don't know, not everyone.
Oh, okay. All right. That's an interesting take. Look, I get it. I mean, I think that when we're younger, we're kind of taught by society that we're supposed to, you know, meet one person, marry them and stay with them for life.
Like the bird kingdom.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's true. That's what happens.
Yeah.
But I think that life has taught me that, you know, some people are here for a reason, some for a season. I think that not every, like a relationship, like, I mean, I've had relationships that haven't failed, but they've ended. You know what I mean?
They haven't failed, but they've ended?
Yeah.
Okay, so if they didn't fail, was it that they ended because it just wasn't right?
I think that, well, okay, there's one relationship I've got in my mind that fitted that time and that time of my life and that time of her life.
Yep.
And that time passed. And it didn't need to be there anymore, right? So it had no progression further than that.
See.
So it filled that time. And what I'm going,
you are awake, Aaron.
Dear. Oops.
Wow.
But I mean, okay,
that's very enlightening.
It didn't fail. Okay, just because it ended didn't mean it failed. It just it suited its purpose for the time. Both people got what they needed out of it, and then we moved on. Yeah. And I think it's kind of in a weird way.
Some people call that a soul contract.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then soul contracts. Yeah. I know I used to say to my late husband that we had a soul contract.
Sure.
And he hated it. Like, he so hated it because, you know, he's going, that's not right. I hate all this soul contract business.
Yep.
Because a contract has an end date.
Oh, okay. I mean, okay. Look, I mean, I can be overly optimistic. I remember my first wife, like, literally people said to me, Aaron, you're doing pretty well. Get yourself a prenup. And I'm like, and I said, I don't prepare for failure. Okay.
It's very true.
Now, I'm an idiot. I should have got a prenup. I should, because clearly that was not a good relationship. It didn't last.
Right.
Clearly that, you know, she had some financial interests in the relationship, far more than I did, I guess. So, you know, I was looking at love. She was looking at, you know, just
gold.
Yeah, we'll call it just gold.
Chanel.
Gold, diamonds, and the whole shebang. And that's okay. You know what?
She wanted a sugar daddy?
No. I don't think I don't know. There was no age gap. Don't know. Can you have a sugar daddy if you're only a year apart? No, I don't know.
Oh, just say.
I know. And look, tell you what, this daddy ain't got enough sugar to hand out. So, no good in that department. No, but it's kind of, look, I think I was very naive then, clearly. I thought that this is going to last forever, all that kind of thing.
Yes.
So, yeah, now my opinions are different. If you're with somebody for, look, it might be 6 months, it might be 2 years, it might be 10 years, whatever.
Yeah.
I think now it's okay. It doesn't have to last forever. It can just last the time that it suits both people and makes both people happy, and both people get what they need out of it.
So it doesn't always happen like that, though.
No, hell no.
Because like you were saying before, some relationships end, but they didn't necessarily fail. Well, I was interesting to get your take more on that.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
That's kind of where I was going. So, I mean, okay, as an example, a relationship that I had that lasted 3 years, it didn't fail. It just basically, it came to the end of what it needed to do.
Okay.
And then we moved on.
That's a really optimistic way of looking at it. I've never thought of that. I think that's a good reframe.
Okay, I'll take it.
You know, you didn't fail. It just came to an end.
No.
You know, you can be telling people that, and that would make them feel so much better. You know, when they lose their job, they lose a friend. You know, you didn't fail. It just came to a conclusion. And we're going to get more into this because, you know, it's all about, you know, you've heard of manifestation.
Very much so, yeah.
So we manifest quite often whatever we think. I actually did a little story the other day. Don't believe everything you think.
Okay.
Because
I believe that.
Look, honestly, what we tell ourselves about people and things and situations and our career paths and our everything, social life, is you are fulfilling a prophecy because you're telling yourself that, and then as a result, you're putting it out there and manifesting it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Of course it does, yeah.
And if you have already gone through, which is what we're talking about in this way, we're talking about how we are impacted from our past. So as a result of some shiz that took place where, say, for example, this lady.
Sure.
So she's had a couple of really abusive relationships.
Yuck.
So she's playing that over and over in her head, not logically, not at a conscious level, but at an unconscious level. So when she's with her now partner, she's looking for problems.
I had a little smile there, and it was certainly not a smile of any pleasure about the person going through a hard time. The smile was a little bit of, I get it, because we carry the insecurities from previous relationships. Like I could just say, and again, my first relationship is other relationships. My first marriage, you know, I could go, hey, all women are just gold diggers, right? You could carry that into the next one.
That's a generalization.
Bingo. But what I'm getting at is the damage that's done from the first one or the second one or whatever, you know, through the relationships, that you can carry them. So, and in this woman's case, I mean, I feel a little bit sorry for her because she's obviously carrying the pain and the hangover from that insecurity from the last relationship into this one. And wouldn't it be nice if we could just put a stop on it?
Look, 100%. Yeah. And I think, you know, we'll never be perfect while we're living on this planet, Earth, and we're in a human body. We'll always have a human experience.
Agreed.
But we can evolve.
Sure.
So if a person is wanting, or they don't even realize they want something to be better in their life, to have a better relationship, you'll hear them saying, oh, you know, I'm feeling like I'm just disconnected. I'm feeling insecure. I'm feeling like that person, like this person I was talking about last night.
Yep.
And I said, what if you had a absolute feeling of certainty within you? What if you stopped playing the program in the back of your mind? Because while you're doing it, it's like an animal. An animal will pick up energetic charges of a person's thought process and what they're feeling in the room. And the animal has a really huge sixth sense. And so this is what we're doing. So we are literally projecting onto other people our own fears, our own insecurities.
Well, we carry that insecurity like luggage, right? Like we just drag it around from relationship to relationship.
Luggage, I like that.
Yeah, it would be nice just to drop it. Speaking, actually, I just want to throw something out there. I've noticed a little sign came on telling me people are trying to make questions and comments from other pages. I wish I could see them. Please, I'd love you to be involved in the conversation. So if you'd like to send a message through or a question, whatever you like, through obviously our Edge Radio Australia Facebook page or our Edge Radio Australia YouTube, like and subscribe while you're there. Love you. That'd be great. But through those two channels, we definitely get your questions. Through some of them, like say my private page or many of the affiliated pages, we will not actually see them. So those two definitely. So if you've got something you want to bring forward, don't be shy. Go through those 2 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, because we've got some questions and I want to have time for those. Imagine if you woke up tomorrow morning and you forgot everything negative and all your hang-ups, all of your bad relationships, all of your fears of, I'm scared of heights or I'm scared of speaking. This is not you. You're a radio man, but you know what I mean. Some people are in fear of public speaking or some people are in fear of stepping forward and taking risks in doing something adventurous, okay? What if you completely forgot all of your, fears and your negativities and you woke up tomorrow with the script that you wrote the day before and you just went out and lived your life?
What a bloody good night's sleep that is. Okay, can I get some of that? Yeah,
Happy days.
It's true. It's so, and some people are really, really great at framing this from the point of view of starting every day as a fresh day. And a lot of people.
But it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't always work, okay?
It doesn't work.
But I tell you what, it's a great theory and it's a good way to start, I think. I mean, that's
absolutely. Look, it's always a good way. And, on that notion, I know we're not talking about addictions here, but quite often when people are, they do that terrible word called a diet or they're on a, get fit or whatever, and then they kind of overeat or they do something that goes against what they set out to do and they scrap it and they go, I'll have to start next week. That's rubbish. Every moment is a new moment to create your life in the now and make a start. So, these are the kind of excuses that people make up in their minds. And, all of the things we generate are coming from our experiences from the past. So I guess we'll hand over to some questions because I guess I can unpack some of the stuff.
You can unpack that luggage as we go, right?
Yeah, from the workshop
baggage,
we're going to be doing.
Stuff. All right, well, great to see some questions. Jeez, they're from everywhere. Wow. Okay, so Cynthia is our first question from LA. Tell you what time of the night? I hope you're watching this on replay because that'll be pretty late at night in the old LA at the moment. But thank you, Cynthia, for sending through a question. How does my past relationship affect my future relationships if they are different people?
If they are different people. So this lady obviously understands this topic. So let's just say you're in a relationship with someone and you are already triggered by them because of a past relationship. Then I guess Cynthia's question is, how does this happen if they are different people? Because it's not about the person that is, triggered you or you're having an issue with. It's about the old feeling and emotion that you're carrying that you haven't resolved yet.
Thoroughly agree with that, really. I mean, the fact that you've said if they're different people, I can imagine that the personality of this person would be very, very different. It's sometimes we tend to gravitate towards people with similar traits, obviously, but if you go into someone who's completely different and you're dragging that with you, it's not a great way.
Absolutely. Like you've heard the saying about the dog who's scared of the postman that's bald and wears a hat. I'm just joking.
Can you imagine me as a postie? Oh, no. It's not going to work.
Was just, okay.
I need the exercise.
But, they say the grey-headed man, for example, the old grey-headed man. And so that grey-headed man may have done something to the dog, kicked the dog, and then from forevermore the dog is scared or it will actually, cringe at someone with grey hair.
Makes sense.
Because it's kind of like a triggering. So our subconscious mind doesn't kind of work on, palpable facts of what's happening here and now. It goes on your emotions and your GPS and what's actually being triggered. So if you've had someone do something to you, for example, that's caused you to lose faith or trust in them, then you're playing out that in your mind. You might mistrust someone, and as a result, it's a fulfilled prophecy because you are drawing that to yourself and attracting it. So you've got to go, well, okay, where have I mistrusted?
Mm-hmm.
How can I put that aside, because this is a new day, this is a new person. I don't need to mistrust. And how do we know that that person is going to do that to us anyways?
We don't.
A partner or a relationship or a boss. We don't know, but that little birdie in our head, which has had a previous experience, is saying, watch out, here it goes. Oh, they're going to do this to you. They're going to do that. And so it's kind of, it's like a protective mechanism, but it doesn't need to stay there because it's a new day.
All right. There's a lot in that. There's a lot in that. I mean, I think for Cynthia, is there, I mean, obviously you can use NLP and you can go back to a date before, I don't know, before you had that part in your mind.
Yeah.
Is that something you'd recommend?
Oh, look, 100%. So, for example, in the workshop, we would be not looking at the person because we really, this is where I can be in front of anyone. It doesn't matter where they come from. I've had people come straight out of jail. Their parents have actually brought them straight into clinic.
Damn. Okay.
And I will look at them as a soul. I will not judge them for what they've done.
Okay.
You know, and they may have been in there for 10 years on something very, you know, harmful. But I see that there was a reason for that. And, you know, to look at that person and go, okay, that's the parts that you played. So we're all actors. I reckon we're all actors.
Interesting thought.
I was going to walk in here today actually and act differently.
Really?
And just, you know, do a bit of a prank on you.
Okay.
And then so you'd go, what the heck is she on
Terry's
today?
been past the bottle shop. Hang on. That's what I'd be thinking.
It's another vodka again or a martini. But, you know, we are actors but we learn how to act because we are constantly acting and constantly behaving.
True.
So in terms of what your question is there, we've got to separate the people from the parts and look at the emotions. How did that make you feel? I feel insecure. I feel uncertain. I feel I don't know, rejection, whatever it is. I'm just making
whatever
stuff
you're
up.
feeling,
Yeah, I'm sort of going by the session. Okay, we track it not from the current person or what happened yesterday. We track it from even up to going back to the very beginning of your life and even beyond.
Damn, that's a long way.
Yeah, because that's the part you kind of pointed out.
Sure.
Do you go back to the initial spot? As long as you learn. So you've got to be able to, and that's what we're going to be doing at the workshop on Saturday. We're going to be able to look and understand what we needed to learn, almost like we're going into the Navy or the Army, or we're going to be, you know,
boot camp.
Yeah, boot camp. Yeah, that's the one. You know, like car racing. You wouldn't just put someone on the rally.
Hell no.
Up. You know, they've never had a day of training in their life. They've got to, you know, you've been through the shrubs. You've been, you know, you've gone this way and that way. You've gone around
quite
different
time in the bush.
You know,
Yep.
so you've got to know, and you've got to be able to know how to drive the rough shrubs and the rough path as well, and not just take the easy path. It's not always the way to go.
Well, sometimes the rough path is the path to success. Okay, that's like, if we're going to use rallying as an analogy, sometimes cutting that corner, which is the risk, will actually make the time faster. Right? You need to take that path. You need to take that risk. You need to put the balls to the wall, as it were, because that's the way that you get the result you need.
I totally concur.
There we go. We had to agree on something. I like it.
Okay, so with regards to that though, because you've done the hard yards, it's like a bodybuilder. They go to the gym and they're pressing and they're lifting weights and doing everything. They're putting themselves through the pain, but they want a result.
Damn straight.
So we can go down the path of least resistance once we've done the hard yards. So when you're taking that person back, you're getting them to recognize the hard yards and what that's taught them. And I'm an excellent rally driver. You know, I can just get in that car and I know. I mean, I can see you. You're pretty slick. You're pretty slick in the car. I've seen you. Well, in that monster truck just recently.
Wasn't a monster. It was a sprint car.
A sprint car. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But, you can see that you know what you're doing, and you wouldn't have been like that the first day you ever jumped in.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, you reckon you were good from day one?
That was the first time I've ever driven a sprint car.
I know, but what about the first time you ever drove a car?
That's a bad example. I'm a terrible example here.
Okay, you were always good?
I was always
Maybe
quick.
you did what we are going to teach about role modeling.
No, I will tell you how it happened. This is how I taught my. So people go, who taught you how to drive or whatever? And I'm not sitting here and just going, how good am I?
Yeah.
I did this in a structured way. I learned to drive watching Bathurst, watching Dick Johnson and Race Car.
Just about to say
So
that.
I go, okay, Dick Johnson's an absolute master. He's a touring car champion, a Bathurst champion. And I watched the camera in his car. I watched what he was doing, and I taught myself to drive. You
did you NLP'd yourself and you didn't even know you were doing that. I mean, it's not an NLP thing anyway. I mean, how many Michael Jackson people are looking to in the world at the moment that they're mimicking them? There's a couple of them out there, right?
Yeah, but if you want,
and they're even more like Michael Jackson than Michael Jackson was himself.
That's a big statement. Yeah, that's a big statement. But if you want to rise to a level, well, guess what? Mimic and get inspiration, and also get tips, if you like, training from the best.
I'm going to have to make you consciously competent here.
I'll give it a go.
What Aaron has just said is not about someone who just recklessly, no pun intended, jumped in a car one day and took off.
No.
You have done ideally what it takes to stand on the shoulders of giants and practice it in your mind, just like these guys, like the Jermaine Jackson who played Michael Jackson. He had to watch him, even though, related, but watch him every day, watch his moves, watch his face, listen to him and literally channel him.
Okay.
And so that's a really big piece of everything. And they've even done scientific studies where people can, if they watch, learn, experience, visualize in their mind, that is almost not quite as good, but not bad considering actually getting in and doing it literally.
Yeah.
So the mind is powerful.
The mind is incredibly powerful. Shall we go to our next question?
I reckon.
What do you think?
I reckon that was good.
This is a local one. This is, look, I'm going to ask for some help from Rhonda. She's in Perth and, come on, it was such a bad gag and no response whatsoever. Shocking.
Sorry.
Lovely to have you on board, Rhonda. Now, I wonder if it's a Rhonda that I know who's up in Joondalup. Who knows? I'm sure there's more than one Rhonda in Perth. Okay. I'm constantly seeking reassurance from my partner, and the harder I try to make things work, the more he pulls away from me. Any tips on what is happening here?
That's what we're talking about. That's exactly what we're talking about. Okay.
All right. Love to know.
This is what we were talking about.
I know.
This is the self-fulfilled prophecy. So, Rhonda, you've got to get into your rock star status. Now, don't take me completely and literally
air guitar's fine.
But you've got to somehow, I mean, I flipped the coin somewhere along the line.
Right.
And I think I learned from a lot of hardship, and sometimes that's what happens. Like if we don't listen, we will hit the wall really bad.
Very true.
And, it's like the universe saying, aren't you listening? What does it take? Okay. So I did go through a few doozy relationships where I'm like, what the heck? Like, what was I even thinking? Like, I wasn't bad as a teenager.
Okay.
But, the worst that it was like, the worse the person was on the opposite side, and I am not talking about my initial marriage partner either. I'm talking about boyfriends here.
Okay. Yeah.
That were absolutely no judgment on it, but I felt like a piece of crap. And that's how I felt. And you've got to take responsibility for yourself. So rather than saying they made me feel like rubbish or they made me feel inadequate or like I'm not good enough, I allowed myself to be in a relationship with this joker that did that. Now, somewhere along the line, I flipped it and it went the opposite direction.
So you took the power in the relationship?
I did.
Okay.
No, not the power in the relationship. No? I took back some kind of I think it had something to do with the fact that, I don't know, I don't want to tell that story because it might sound conceited, but, basically,
sometimes in life you're allowed to be conceited.
You're allowed to be conceited?
Yes.
Okay. I was the ugly duckling that suddenly turned into the thing.
Where's my violin?
And okay.
Yeah,
so no, but when it happened with vengeance. So all of a sudden every man and his dog liked me.
There you go.
And then I suddenly came in. Well, you asked, so I'm telling you now.
It's great that you say.
So basically I got a belief that you had to look in a certain way. Because that made you really, really popular.
Mm-hmm.
So I flipped it from going, I'm, not worthy and blah, 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 to
tear yourself down.
I bloody rock, everybody wants me. No, but I mean, really that kind of belief, you don't have to walk around saying it because nobody will want you. But that kind of belief of knowing you are good, knowing that, you have something to offer, honestly, Rhonda, give it a go because there is something in your life, girlfriend, that you are playing. Because, if it's anything like this lady I spoke to last night, she really had no reason to feel insecure about her situation, right? But she did. And why?
Hang on. Here's the problem. All of us, no matter how confident you are, in every relationship we have a moment where we're feeling insecure, right? We do, right? And
of course we do.
There's so many things I want to say here that, probably I don't want to go there. But I think there's a lot to be said about just realising that you are all that and a bag of chips, right?
I like that. All that in a bag of chips.
Yeah. I think I think we constantly put ourselves down and we think, we're not good enough, we're not good enough. And then sometimes have a look around, okay? Sometimes pretend you're a member of the opposite sex. Don't take it too far, right? But just have a bit of a look. And then you will very quickly realise, hang on. I'm pretty good gear here, right? You look at, and I'm not trying to put other people down, but when you look at other people and you look where you fit into, I don't know, the stratosphere of men or women out there, you're a pretty good thing. So perhaps you should be more confident about yourself. Perhaps you should back yourself.
I love that.
Yeah, and I think I've actually put it really badly, but I think that,
no, you've put it in layman's terms.
Yeah.
And that helps people to understand because I don't speak layman's terms a lot of the time. And, really, I hear what Aaron is saying, and that is really important to understand that you are, to the right person, you are the bomb. You are the bomb.
Damn straight.
Yeah, and not the bomb as in an old bomb either. I'm talking about the bombshell. You are.
And I'm the bomb. Don't wear that T-shirt anywhere near an airport. Right? Okay, that was it. But it's like, okay, I've spoken to someone recently and without, confidentiality, I guess. But okay, and this person was questioning, why them? Okay,
yeah,
and you kind of think to yourself, oh my God, do you realise from the outside? Okay, from my angle, oh my God, you're amazing, right? I think sometimes you've got to see yourself through other people's eyes. Yeah.
Ian used to have this technique and it was quite weird. It was quite very simple, but so bizarre. And I can remember him taking me to a mirror one day and putting me in front of the mirror. Now, I'm pretty vain. You probably know that. But, when you go in front of a mirror, I'm just talking to everyone here, you go there not to look at yourself like the Fonz and go, oh, look at me, I'm great. You go there with a critical eye.
Okay.
You go there, usually the girls. I'm talking to the girls. Okay, what do I need a bit of eyebrows, or I might need to improve on the hair, or you look at yourself critically, right? Now, he came behind me And he had his hands on my shoulders and he was standing and he said, "What do you see when you look in the mirror?" And I just went, "Oh, far out. You ought to try this. Get someone like someone perhaps that, you don't even have to be an intimate person.
Okay.
It can be anyone. And somehow when they're standing behind you, you're not looking at yourself in the same way. You're looking at yourself through their eyes."
Yeah.
And so
okay, I'm going to say something down the line to just about every woman who is ever watching this, all right? Imagine if you could see yourself the way your man sees you. Like when we look at the women in our lives who we love, okay, we adore, and we do. We love and we adore them, okay? We feel that way. And we see you like, you could be wearing a towel and you look fantastic, right? Okay.
I bet.
No, but quick. A towel's great because it's quick release and off you go, right? But it's people look at themselves and they talk themselves down.
Yeah.
And if you could just see yourself in the eyes of those people who love you and care about your desire, your whatever, man, would you strut? You would strut if that were the case.
Yeah,
if you knew the
bit
truth.
of a peacock, you reckon?
Why not?
Yeah. It is so true. So Rhonda, I'm telling you, girl, I'm going to say this negatively because a lot of people, if you're like me, I'm very away motivated.
Okay.
If you keep putting that out there, you're going to give your man every reason to perhaps reject you. So the whole thing is to get this kind of acceptance that if he's not the right person, if he is going to run off with somebody else, he was never meant to be there anyway.
Yep.
So you've got to understand that this is why if a person wants an energetic match or they want a relationship, we tell them not to specify unless they already have a love interest and they really want to make a go of it, because they may not be the right energetic match. They might see it as, and there may be something that's giving that off. But anyway, I think I've raved on about that for long enough. We'll go on to the next question.
Fair call. No, absolutely. I just think I think people need to be a little bit more kind to themselves and actually realise that, a lot of the time where you're being negative about yourself or you're lacking your self-esteem, all that kind of thing, maybe just, spend the time and see yourself through the eyes of those who actually care about you. So thank you, Rhonda.
The third one is actually, that's not it.
That well, let me just go through.
It's one, Rob.
Rob?
It's Rob from Victoria.
All right. Now, I like the first line from Rob. Thanks, mate, all the way from Victoria. Okay. His first line is, "I hate my boss." I'm self-employed and I hate my boss. I get it. So, all right. Now, so I hate my boss and come home stressed, which causes arguments with my wife. I want to change, but I'm scared of losing the security of my salary. Any tips on how I can make the right decision here?
This is almost exactly like what we've just said about, the relationship, only this is a different topic on money, career,
relationship,
and it's still around certainty. So I remember having a girl that practically said the same thing to me. She said, "I hate my boss, Terry. What am I going to do? Because I need to get out of this job, but the pay is too good." So they're kind of, what do they call it? The golden cuffs, handcuffs.
Yeah, okay.
When people are handcuffed by the gold.
That's right.
And they're sort of, so that's not a good way to be. And the number one thing is, yes, there is a saying in life, it's always easier to get a job when you got one.
It's so true, though.
And it's like getting a relationship. That's not a good thing. But, it's because a person has that sense of fulfillment and there's not that emptiness. So if you think of it as, if there's an empty void, what you're putting out there is emptiness.
Sure.
Whereas if you are, the first thing, Rob, is you've got to discover what you hate about your boss. And if you can almost separate it, so you hate those parts of him. You may not hate the person really, but what if it is you just hate the way they are behaving, the way that they're acting? Okay. Because I say that with a opportunity to get you to reframe it. And the reason I do this is because the answer I gave to my own client is you've got to learn to not fall in love with that person, but you've got to find something where you can find the satisfaction and keep your mind focused on what it's going to feel like to be in your ideal role.
Okay.
So you're not actually out there hunting for a job because it's like hunting for a relationship.
Sure.
It's got the same impact. You've got to kind of be in it. And this is where I talk about quantum leaping, and this is what we'll be doing on the weekend, where we put a vision out there.
Yep.
And in that vision, it's going to have what everyone wants to choose. So whether it is around their career, whether it is around their love interest, whether it is around their general life. So we'll go into more detail about that on the weekend and get them to harness it so it becomes imprinted onto their DNA. And that's the part with NLP and hypnosis. So we channel that, and that allows you then to come back to the present. But the trick is to let it go.
All right.
You've got to let it go. So you got to surrender it. You got to be almost prepared to go, you know.
Something you've said there I find interesting, and I'd love to know what Rob thinks about this, because I think this is interesting. Excuse me. About hating the boss, but you can hate aspects of him.
Yeah.
And can separate and break. That is an interesting take on it, because not everybody's all bad. Perhaps it's just particular things that they do that make life very, very hard. We've all worked for people we don't want to.
Yeah.
And look, geez, isn't it? It's a tough gig, because you've got to have that security of the salary. You've got a wife at home, and you've obviously got to maintain a home and keep food on the table. So it is a tough thing.
It is
and
tough.
I'm going to go the gender thing here right now. It's an incredibly tough thing for men, because we have to keep this very, very quiet. We have to suffer in silence. If we feel that we hate our jobs or the situation we're in, we keep that quiet and we keep that from the people we love. That's a really common thing. So look, Rob would be feeling this added pressure because you can't share that with others.
But you also say, Rob, that you're coming home and it's causing arguments. So, I heard someone who was saying the same thing, someone close around me, but they were actually afraid of leaving their job because they didn't want to desert the team.
Okay.
So they were very team-spirited.
I can understand that.
And, I can too. But the impact it was having on his wife was detrimental.
Would be.
So it's really about understanding that really our feelings are a radar. It is a GPS. It is something that we can understand. What am I feeling? What is this saying to me? And releasing it. But, if you can let it go and start asking yourself, well, what do I want? How do I want to feel?
Yep.
And begin practicing that in your day-to-day life. So, for example, when you quantum leap, bring it back to yourself, and we're going to teach how to anchor, and we're going to teach how to really get that into your DNA. And that is the greatest form of manifestation and trust. I believe that trusting, but you've got to be able to learn how to trust without the lack, without feeling that loss and that desperation, because that's the biggest killer and the frequency cruncher of the desperation, because it makes, you know what I mean?
You can smell desperation. Come on.
You can.
Yeah.
So that has clearly got to go. And this is where NLP can help to dissolve, clear and release that.
Yeah, no, I thoroughly agree with that. And I think that, from your point there, Rob, if you're coming home, you're in that horrible mood, and you don't want to, why would you want to drag that onto your wife, someone you love, right? And I'm saying I completely understand. I get it. It's very, very hard to not transfer that feeling once you've got it. Do you know what some people do? I mean, I think the NLP techniques are probably the way to go, to be frank. But the simple sitting in the car for a little bit is always a good trick. A lot of guys will come home and they'll sit in the car for 5 minutes and just they kind of
Pace yourself.
Defrag the day, and they drop it.
Good.
So some people do it in a local park, some people do it in the driveway, whatever. But that's because
people ought to do that before sending emails too,
Exactly.
I mean, we've all done it.
We've all.
Hindsight is 20/20 vision, or or, that moment when you said something that you regret it, or you do something, but, when you press that send button, if you've given someone a piece of your, and then all of a sudden it's gone, it's too late. It ain't coming back.
Never coming back. Same goes for drunken texts, right? Be very careful with your drunken texts, right? It's so true. It's so true. All right. I think that is, look, it's fantastic. Really, really good stuff there. They're bits of advice and techniques I think can help out big time. Can we just spend a moment and talk about Saturday?
Sure. Okay. So really this is a recurring thing. So we do a workshop about once a month at Edge Radio Australia.
Spot on.
You can get a ticket online or you can come in person. And really it's always about your life and how hypnosis and NLP and your subconscious mind, how you can make changes so that you can break through whatever it is that you want to break through.
And I am so proud, pleased, happy as Larry on so many levels about the feedback from the last couple have been unbelievable, really, really positive. And it's just nice to know that, what you're doing, Terry, is really improving people's lives.
Thank you. And you know what it is? It's people. It's us. It's all of us.
Yep.
And I went through it. I still go through it. I put it down to when people say to me, how are you doing what you're doing? I wouldn't be able to do most of the stuff that I'm doing, Aaron.
Sure.
With everything that's happened to me in the last 12 months, there is no way on this earth I would be able to be sitting here talking to you right now like this if I didn't have these techniques. I'm not going to take the glory for them.
No, take it.
I'm just going to thank God that he has given me these tools.
That's very cool.
And my late husband, who also encouraged me and put them into my hands as well.
Great to have good people, and you have great people in your life that make that happen. So,
absolutely.
All right. And on that bombshell, we will end the show. Thank you very much for being part of it. Of course, if you do want to get tickets to Saturday, they'll be
we'll pop them in the notes.
We can do that,
comments.
absolutely. Now, if you've missed that, you may actually right now be watching at edgeradioaustralia.com. You can press the little link actually on our app as well. If you're listening on the app, there's a link that will take you back to the web page. If you want to, just send us an email, connect, boom, 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 connect away, and we will get you in touch. But otherwise, they're available on Facebook through Terry's page. They're through what service is it?
It is, it's Edge Radio Australia.
Yep.
It is Eventbrite and the NLP Hypnosis. If you look up NLP and Hypnosis, you'll see Terry Messenger, Edge Radio Australia.
Too easy.
And we do it every month. We do something different, but it's always great.
Yeah. So if you've been before, there's other things to learn, and there's more things.
Absolutely, 100%. Otherwise, I'd be bored.
Very bored indeed. Let's get out of here. Thanks for being part of the show. It has been a Genius Zone on Edge Radio Australia.